The peaceful Sunday morning at Sunnyside Elementary School was suddenly disturbed by the hurried footsteps of Mr. Scott, the janitor. Carrying persistent torment and curiosity, Mr. Scott wandered the empty hall, the echo of his footsteps adding to the eerie silence. As it turns out, Mr. Scott is not alone in his weekend work. A boy appeared in the darkness, causing Mr. Scott to be confused and cautiously approach. When Mr. Scott asked the boy what he was doing here, the boy's answer made Mr. Scott shiver. Nathaniel Scott, the janitor, decided to stay at the school over the weekend to clean up the remaining areas. Although he completed most of the work on Friday, Mr. Scott's perfectionism did not allow him to skip any details. Still having the gnawing feeling that he had missed something, Mr. Scott decided to check again. Thinking that the inspection would be quick, Mr. Scott only planned to take a quick look at the classrooms and lightly clean them if there was any dirt. Then he would return home, fulfilling his promise to his girlfriend to pick up the items on the way home. However, Mr. Scott could not imagine that things would not be that simple. Parking in the school parking lot, Mr. Scott went to the back door, where the janitor uniform was kept. He knew he needed to be careful to avoid getting bleach on his everyday clothes. Luckily, he had his own key to open the door on occasions like this. The key slid gently into the lock. Opening the door to the mystery waiting for Mr. Scott inside, Nathaniel Scott, after unlocking the school door, suddenly realized that the door was not locked. The fact that he had to go through the back door to get his uniform was the only reason he didn't realize this. While changing, Nathaniel heard himself whispering as a strange melody echoed from the hallway. He realized that he was not alone. Quickly putting on his cleaning clothes, Nathaniel walked out into the empty hallway. The echo of his footsteps made him feel even more confused. Nathaniel tried to put aside his paranoid thoughts and concentrate on listening. High-pitched singing echoed, carrying the familiar melody he had heard a few weeks ago. It's a song that children often sing in class, but this time it has a dark and haunting sound. The sound echoing from the empty halls made the hair on the back of Nathaniel's neck even more creepy. Luckily, that melody led Nathaniel closer to where the singing was coming from. He quickly followed the sound, filled with curiosity and worry. Passing a few curves, Nathaniel realized the singing was getting closer and louder. He almost wanted to run to find out the mystery of who sang this song and why they sang it. Going around the last turn, Nathaniel suddenly bumped into something or someone. How will the mystery of the strange melody in the deserted school be revealed? What will Nathaniel encounter next? Let's continue following the dramatic and mysterious developments of the story. Nathaniel turned the corner, his gaze directed toward the hallway ahead. Because he was busy thinking, he didn't pay attention and bumped into a small child. The loud impact made Nathaniel gasp and quickly bent down to help the child up. What surprised Nathaniel was that the baby didn't cry at all, but just sat silently on the floor. "Boy, are you okay?" Nathaniel asked worriedly and looked closely from top to bottom to check. The baby nodded, smiling mischievously at Nathaniel's question. It stood up, seemingly wanting to continue walking without paying attention to its surroundings. However, Nathaniel quickly blocked the boy's footsteps. "Hey, why are you here on Sunday? The school is empty." Nathaniel wondered, thinking this was a strange action by the child. Confused, Nathaniel watched the boy brush the dirt from his clothes and continue walking. "Wait! What are you doing here alone?" Nathaniel called out and hurriedly chased after him. Silence covered the school, only the sound of the boy's footsteps echoed in the large hallway. The boy never looked back, walking with a steadfast and determined look. Nathan tries to persuade the boy to return, explaining that it is not safe here and that he should go home. However, the boy's voice carried a strange combination of determination and innocence, leaving Nathaniel confused and curious. Realizing that this wouldn't be a simple conversation, Nathaniel chased after the boy. "Wait, son," Nathaniel called out. "Tell me what you're looking for, I can't go now." "I'm looking for something," the boy's voice said, carrying a mixture of determination and innocence. Nathaniel, torn between concern and curiosity, realizes that this will not be a simple meeting. The boy sped away, leaving Nathaniel with no choice but to give chase. Nathaniel noticed something strange. The boy not only wandered, but also stopped by the lockers, pressing his ear as if listening to something. "What are you doing?" Nathaniel asked with confusion. The boy focused on ignoring the question, moving from one cabinet to another with a mysterious purpose. Although the boy's actions were somewhat strange, Nathaniel felt worried about the boy's safety. He decided to watch from afar, watching as the boy continued to explore the mysterious lockers. The boy's actions made Nathaniel even more curious. Each cabinet was carefully listened to by the boy, nodded and then moved on to the next one. Nathaniel's curiosity piqued. Questions surrounded his mind. What was the boy looking for? Why does it involve eavesdropping on lockers? Determined to uncover the mystery, Nathaniel begins to follow the boy more closely. Each silent step seemed to draw him deeper into this mystery. "What is your name? And what exactly are you looking for?" Nathaniel asked again. Hoping to get an answer this time, Lucas stopped, his eyes hesitantly looking at Nathaniel. The boy seemed to be pondering whether to trust Nathan with his secret or not. "Lucas," Nathaniel spoke up, trying to keep his voice light, "where are your parents? Why are you here alone?" Lucas shrugged and frowned as he replied, "I saw an unlocked door and walked in." Nathaniel's eyebrows furrowed. "The door is unlocked. The school's security system should be tighter, especially on weekends." Nathan's initial concern now turned to worry. "Which door?" Nathan asked, forcing his mind to think about the potential security breach. Lucas pointed vaguely towards the front of the school. Nathaniel knew he had to check. But he didn't want to leave Lucas alone. The thought of the security risk weighed heavily on him. "Lucas," he said, "we need to get you home. It's not safe here." But Lucas resisted, eyes wide and earnest, "But I can't leave yet. I'm on a mission. This is really important." The boy's voice carried a mixture of urgency and innocence, making Nathan sympathetic. Despite the alarm bells ringing in his head about security, he couldn't ignore the sincerity in Lucas's eyes. "Okay, Lucas," he sighed, "tell me about this mission. Why is it so important?" Nathaniel's curiosity piqued. Lucas, looking relieved to finally be sharing, begins to tell his story. Lucas hinted at the importance of the mission without revealing too much, leaving Nathaniel with a mixture of curiosity and worry. As they walked, Nathaniel's mind kept thinking about the unlocked door. That means they may not be alone in school. Glancing at Lucas, Nathaniel felt his protective instincts surge. "We need to be careful," he said, scanning the dark hallways. The silence of the school seemed louder now than ever, every noise amplified by the possibility of strangers lurking in the shadows. "Stay close, Lucas. Stick close to me," Nathaniel instructed with a firm voice. The thought of bumping into another person at school made him feel creepy. Lucas nodded, holding on to Nathaniel as they moved through the silent hallway. Nathaniel placed a hand on Lucas' shoulder to guide him as they walked through the deserted hallways. The responsibility of keeping Lucas safe weighed heavily on him, especially now that there was the threat of intruders. The more Nathaniel thought about Lucas and the unlocked door, the more he realized there was a mystery unfolding. Why isn't the door locked? Who else could be in the school? What is Lucas's mission? These questions swirled in his head as they continued to investigate. Nathaniel knew they needed answers, but part of him wondered if they were ready for what they might find. Increasingly concerned for their safety, Nathaniel made a decision. "We'll go here, Lucas. Let's check this out together. But you have to promise to stay close to me." Lucas agreed, curiosity and excitement appeared in the boy's eyes. They proceed cautiously, Nathaniel in the lead, determined to delve deeper into the mystery that has been revealed. However, Nathaniel couldn't shake the creepy feeling, the premonition that they were about to discover something extremely dangerous. With increasing apprehension, Nathan and Lucas paused their steps. Turning to Lucas, Nathaniel spoke up, "You shouldn't be wandering around alone, especially in a school like this. It's dangerous." Lucas's face showed a mixture of guilt and defiance. Nathaniel softened his voice, "I understand, boy. You have your reasons. But we need to be smart about this." Lucas nodded, seeming to understand the severity of the situation. Together, they prepared to face what lies ahead. As they cautiously moved forward, Lucas suddenly mentioned Sydney in a serious tone. Nathaniel's ears perked up, curious about this new character. "Who is Sydney?" he asked. Lucas hesitated for a moment and then shared that Sydney was part of the reason he was here today. Nathaniel's interest grew when he realized that this was more than just a simple visit to the school. They searched the classrooms and dark corners, but saw no sign of anyone else. The school became more deserted, the mystery of the situation deepened. Every empty room they checked seemed like they were the only ones there. "Looks like it's just us," Nathan muttered, confused. Lucas nodded, looking around nervously, as if expecting someone or something to appear from the darkness. "Who is Sydney and why do you have to stop him?" Nathan pressed, curiosity rising. Lucas took a deep breath and explained that Sydney was a classmate who said something alarming. According to Lucas, Sydney hinted at a dangerous plan for the school. Nathaniel listened, his skepticism mixed with growing concern about the meaning of Lucas's story. Lucas' explanation came slowly, his voice heavy with what was being revealed. Realizing the severity of the situation, Nathan urged Lucas to continue, sensing the importance of what the boy was about to reveal. As Lucas recounts his conversation with Sydney, Nathan's initial skepticism gradually turns into growing concern about the potential threat. Nathan's concerns deepen when he realizes that someone is planning to endanger the school. The story becomes more dramatic. "This is alarming. We need to act immediately." Nathan's protective instincts kick in at the possibility of a threat like Lucas describes. He understood that they couldn't ignore Lucas's fears, especially when the safety of the school and those in it were at stake. "That's right, Lucas," Nathaniel nodded, remembering Lucas's warnings. "We need to be smart about this. Let's be careful as we figure out our next steps." The weight of responsibility weighs heavily on Nathan as he considers the severity of the problem. Together, they began planning their approach, aware that time was of the essence and they needed to act with caution and determination. Lucas tried to explain further, his voice shaking. "Sydney said he's going to blow up the school this weekend." The boy stumbled, struggling to convey the severity of the situation. Nathan listened attentively but found it difficult to piece together the story from Lucas's disjointed explanation. The challenge of understanding things through the lens of a child makes it difficult for Nathan to grasp the big picture. Many questions swirled in his mind. Could Lucas' words be trusted? Is Sydney really capable of such horrific acts? And what should they do next to prevent this potential disaster? Nathan knows he can't solve this mystery alone. He needs Lucas's help, and together they must find a way to solve the mystery, expose the dark plot and protect the school from impending danger. Lucas's next words came as a blow, adding a level of urgency to the situation. "It's in Sydney's locker," the boy said, worry written all over his face. Nathan's heart pounded at the thought of something dangerous lurking in the school. It's so scary. They need to find that locker, but how when they don't know which locker belongs to Sydney and don't have the key? Their task seems almost impossible. The possibility of an explosive device hidden somewhere in the school made Nathan's fear even more evident. He looked at Lucas, then at the rows of lockers along the hallway. "We don't know which locker is Sydney's," he said, his voice filled with worry. "And I don't have the keys to any of these." "Neither do I," Lucas replied, his voice a mixture of disappointment and fear. The enormity of their predicament is clearer than ever, casting a shadow of fear over their mission. Despite the obstacles, Lucas's faith ignited Nathan's fighting spirit. "We have to do something, Lucas," he said firmly. "We cannot hesitate. "That's right," Lucas insisted, his eyes shining with a mixture of fear and determination. "We'll figure it out together." Nathan took a deep breath, empowered by Lucas' courage. "You're right, Lucas," he nodded. "Together, we will solve this." Willing to accept the challenge, motivated by the urgency of the danger they believe lurks within the school, Nathan and Lucas begin their mission with shared determination. They split the tasks, Nathan focusing on logistics while Lucas tried to remember every detail that could lead them to Sydney's locker. The school's silent hallways seemed to echo with their determination as they moved purposefully, aware of the severity of what they were trying to prevent. Nathan quickly moved to lock the main entrance to the school, just in case there was a potential threat. "Can't let him out," Nathan explained to Lucas, the door lock echoing unusually loudly in the quiet school. This action was a precaution to prevent any potential danger in the school as they searched Sydney's locker. As they continued searching, Nathan had a troubling thought: maybe the person who opened the door is still here. Maybe it's Sydney. He looked around thoughtfully, that possibility adding even more tension to their mission, turning the search into a more cautious endeavor. They walked along the rows of lockers, looking for any sign of Sydney or anyone else who might be lurking in the school. After finding no obvious signs of anyone, Lucas has an idea: "Let's listen to the lockers." Nathan was skeptical, but they decided to try. Moving quietly down the rows of cabinets, they pressed their ears against the cold metal door. Most remained silent, giving no clue as to their urgent task. Nathan was about to dismiss the idea as a fluke when Lucas suddenly whispered, "I heard something." Nathan rushed over to Lucas, listening intently to the locker next to him. At first he didn't hear anything, but then some vague sound rang out that shouldn't have been there. Nathan's skepticism turns to wariness when he realizes that Lucas may have just led them to the clue they are desperately looking for. The ticking sound from the locker sent chills down Nathan's spine. He was afraid of the worst scenarios that he had only seen in movies. His mind raced as he tried to recall any details about the bomb threats he had heard in the past. The situation is no longer just a quest to find Sydney's closet. It has become a race against time to prevent a potential disaster. Nathan quickly memorized the locker number and location, his brain switched to emergency mode. "We have to act fast, Lucas," he said, his tone trying to be calm but unable to hide the panic gnawing inside. He pulled out his phone, ready to call for help. Every passing second is precious. Nathan knew they had to move quickly to ensure the safety of everyone involved. With a hasty handshake, Nathan called the police, his voice filled with urgency. "There could be a bomb in the school. There's a ticking sound coming from the lockers at Sunnyside Elementary School." He tried to provide as much detail as possible. The dispatcher's calm voice on the phone line instructed them to evacuate immediately and wait for authorities outside the building. Nathan grabbed Lucas's hand, leading him to the nearest exit. "We have to get out of here now," he said, his tone leaving no room for argument. They moved as fast as they could, Nathan's heart pounding in his chest. Once outside, they do not stop until they are a safe distance from the school. The building now looms in darkness, becoming the backdrop for the anxious wait for the police to arrive. Nathan paced back and forth, his mind racing. "Where might your parents be?" he asked Lucas, his voice revealing worry not only for the current situation but also for the boy's extraordinary courage. Nathan knew the importance of what they had discovered. Now, as they waited in the dim light, he couldn't help but worry about what would happen next. Lucas pointed to a cozy-looking house across the street. "My parents are there." "I left," he admitted, his voice tinged with worry. Nathan nodded, understanding the seriousness of Lucas's confession. The quiet of the evening seemed to emphasize the seriousness of the situation. Together, they prepared to cross the street to ensure Lucas's safe return home, unaware of the impending tragedy. Nathan escorted Lucas across the street, carefully watching for any approaching cars before they crossed. Lucas's mother opened the door, her face filled with chaos, a mixture of relief and worry. "Lucas," she cried, her voice filled with worry, throwing her arms around her son, clearly relieved to see him safe. Nathan stepped back to give them privacy, but remained close, knowing that their ordeal was far from over. When Lucas' mother tried to coax her son inside, Lucas suddenly broke free from her arms and rushed toward the school. "You have to stop Sydney," he shouted over his shoulder, panic on his face. The mother called after her son, but Lucas was already halfway there, determination evident in every step. The screeching sound of tires tore through the quiet evening air as Lucas crossed the street. His mother's panicked scream echoed in the air. The car, a police patrol car, stopped in time, narrowly avoiding Lucas. Confused, Lucas' mother rushed after her son, Nathan hurried after. Worried for Lucas' safety. The tension in the air was palpable. Lucas, Nathan and the boy's mother stood on the sidewalk, a police car idling nearby. "Lucas, you have to let the police handle this," Nathan said firmly, understanding the boy's fear but also aware of the potential danger. The need for safety is strongly emphasized. Lucas's mother nodded in agreement, her eyes pleading with her son, "Lucas, you must listen." Lucas faces the shared concerns of Nathan, his mother, and the officers, torn between his mission and the dangerous reality of the scene outside. Sunnyside Elementary School transformed quickly as police and SWAT vehicles arrived, lights flashing and sirens echoing everywhere. Nathan, Lucas and his family watched as officers coordinated, assessing the severity of the bomb threat. Their appearance prompted an immediate and escalating response from the authorities. Nathan stepped forward to quickly explain the situation to the arriving officers. He details the ticking sound from the locker and Lucas' account of Sydney's threat. His words were met with nods of understanding from the officers. Wasting no time, they relayed information via radio, highlighting the impending danger to ensure quick implementation of the action plan. Nathan then facilitates an important conversation between Lucas and the officers. Although nervous, Lucas recounted his story, providing important details that could aid the investigation. The police listened attentively and asked questions to clarify points. This exchange of information is important to bridge the gap between the child's observations and the professional response needed to address the threat. Meanwhile, Lucas's parents wavered between relief that their son was safe and worry about the implications of his actions. They couldn't help but worry about the seriousness of their son's well-intentioned but dangerous decision. The weight of anxiety weighs heavily on them, reflecting the complexity of their emotions during this stressful time. Tensions peaked when the bomb squad arrived, signaling a critical phase of the operation. Wearing protective clothing, the team quickly assessed the situation before entering the school. Their presence is a silent reminder of the urgency and danger of the task at hand. Nathan, Lucas and their family can only stand by and watch with the hope that everything will be resolved safely and quickly. Nathan and the SWAT team entered the school. Lucas stayed behind holding his parents' hands tightly as Nathan led the group through the hallways. They arrived at the main entrance which Nathan had unlocked, leading them to the lockers. Despite the noise of the alarm, the bomb squad was completely focused on the locker. Nathan pointed out where the team had prepared the equipment for communication in a hushed tone. Urgent anticipation built in everyone, the atmosphere thick with the weight of the moment. Nathan watched his heart pound as the team made final preparations to check the lockers. He knew that the results could change everything. The bomb squad approached the locker cautiously, using tools to open the lock while maintaining a safe distance. Their movements are precisely calculated to minimize risk. Nathan held his breath, the silence of the onlookers interrupted only by the click of a lock. Tension increases as they work. Dangerous possibilities are lurking. The locker opened and the ticking sound grew louder and louder. Instead of a dangerous bomb, the bomb squad was surprised to discover a science project inside the locker. The device is made from an old alarm clock, a stopwatch that ticks harmlessly. Relief mixed with disbelief and gratitude welled up in Nathan as he realized that there was no bomb, just a misunderstanding. Sydney and his parents, summoned by the police, arrive at school while the chaos is taking place. Sydney, under questioning by officers, explains the misunderstanding about his project, describing his excitement for the science fair. The situation was clarified, relief spread throughout everyone present. Sydney's innocent intentions led to a night of terror, now dissolving into a valuable lesson for all. Tensions dissipate when the true nature of the bomb project is revealed, a simple science experiment misunderstood due to an overheard conversation. The community's fear caused by a child's innocent description was relieved by laughter and relief. A situation that once had the potential to cause panic is now a story of naivety and misunderstandings. Reassurance spread quickly through the crowd outside Sunnyside Elementary School. Parents hugged their children tighter, neighbors exchanged looks of relief, and first responders laid down their weapons when the threat was determined to be non-existent. That night's events became a reminder to the community of the importance of clear communication, especially in safety matters. After the incident, Nathan realized that simple ignorance could lead to serious consequences, and he resolved to be more careful in his words and actions in the future. Nathan's brave actions were recognized by the community, transforming him from a janitor into a hero. His journey that night underscores the enormous impact one individual can have in averting a potential disaster. Resounding applause and gratitude for Nathan as he humbly acknowledged his role in ensuring the safety of the community. The school and students, who often saw Nathan behind the scenes, now honor him for his courage and quick wit. The event at Sunnyside Elementary became a moment of reflection for the entire community. It emphasizes the importance of clarity in communication and the strength found in unity. The fear, although rooted in misunderstanding, highlights the community's shared responsibility to protect and support each other. It's a reminder that in difficult times, coming together is paramount. As night falls, conversations turn to the future. School events are not the end but the beginning, a catalyst for change, innovation and growth.